Hello everyone, and happy Christmas to you, the year 2020, a year to remember for lots of reasons, and let's make it memorable above all because of how much we have remembered God during this year. In the early years of Ananda, when we started celebrating Christmas the way Master had celebrated, with an all-day meditation and then a big Christmas Eve party, meditations and music on Christmas morning, and then a Christmas banquet. And because Master always served Indian food, we always served Indian food. Everything about what Swami did was always modeled on what Master did. Even if the specifics sometimes were different, he was always following Master's intention and Master's vibration. I remember saying to Swamiji once, if you do things a certain way, that's because Master did them that way, is that correct? He said, yes, of course. And I said, if you refrain from certain actions and make certain decisions, in rejecting possible directions, that's because you feel that's how Master would do it. Isn't that so? And Swami again just looked at me and said, of course. And over the years, I've come to appreciate on a deeper and deeper level what Swamiji was really saying to me. In some of Master's disciples speak of the fact that Master said, I left a blueprint in the ether. And that was a true phrase that Master said. Swamiji said some people have interpreted that to mean that he left detailed instructions for the future of his work, and that somehow we're supposed to read this document, in the ether word by word, and then impose it word by word on the world that we're living in. Swamiji said what he meant by that was that there was a vibration of consciousness in the ether, and that we needed to attune ourselves with that vibration and then manifest in this world according to that vibration. Swamiji used a very interesting phrase that Master responded to every opportunity that was in tune with the vibration of the work he was trying to do in this world. And then he would follow those opportunities to see if they were God's will to manifest, if it was something that was trying to happen. And so he said Master was exceedingly fluid in the way he responded to life, because he was always following that inner compass. And wherever that inner compass would lead him, that's where he would go. So he was courageous, creative, unexpected, unpredictable in certain ways. Unpredictable perhaps in the form of things, but not unpredictable in terms of the energy. So even though it took me longer than you might think to really appreciate how in Swamiji's unexpected creativity, he was actually following what you would have to call a very orthodox line, because he was always operating as a disciple. And one of the things that he did after our Indian banquets on Christmas was that Swami would always speak to the community. And I'm talking in the very early days of Ananda, when the whole community could fit into a relatively small dining room or a relatively small temple. And we were all there always at Christmas time. And I always thought of those talks that he would give after the Christmas banquet as the State of the Union address, except the union that he was addressing was union with God, not a political union of independent governments or anything like that. The state of our union with God, how we had lived through that last year, and how we could grow deeper as time went on. And all of that process, every event, every experience, every letter that he wrote, the books, the songs, everything, it was always this constant reinforcement of this idea that there is a specific vibration of this ray of consciousness which not only can, but is longing to express through each one of us. And as disciples, as devotees, as truth seekers, this is not a sectarian path. This isn't just, oh, some of us get to be on this path, or some of us are chosen by God to do that. It's not that at all. God chooses those who with great love choose Him. And the vibrations that Master left in the ether are by no means just for dedicated Ananda members, that you have to have the password like on a website. It's if one's heart is drawn. If one's heart is drawn to the vibration of consciousness that Master came to this world to express, our job is simply to receive it and to become instruments of it. At a time like Christmas, like now, when the whole world is celebrating the descent of the avatar in that particular form, when the veil between this world and the next world is thinner than it usually is, this is the time above all to examine the state of the union. What is my union with God, and how can I make it deeper? This is the everlasting message of every master who's ever come. They come not to show us how great they are. Their greatness is there only to show us an example of how great we can become. And by the beauty and the perfection and the joy and the adventure of their particular story, to inspire in us those same divine qualities. The Master is always calling. The voice of God is always the same. The only question is, are we listening? Do we have the courage to respond? And how can we go deeper in that relationship? It's the only relationship in the end that will bring us the true fulfillment that our hearts are longing for. And now, above all times of the year, let us go deep, deep into that relationship, deep into that joy, and ever more quickly to the doorway to freedom. God bless you, my friends.